Hey everybody, Carrot couldn't make it this time around because he saw a picture of front-facing Crocker and his brain broke. So until he gets better from that, he's not going to be here, so please bear with us.
Jimmy Turner, my name is Dutch Dimmadale, Dimmadale, Dutch Dimmadale, 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 Dimmadale,
Hello everyone, and welcome to another cartoon Chatterbox. Today's cartoon is a very, very interesting little story, and we're joined by our usual folks except for Carrot.
Yep.
I am Yoda Jackson, aka Jackson Lennox, and I'm also like a writer and reviewer of animation. Well, not a professional writer, that is, but and I also do Oh, thank you. And I also do voices, including Mr. Crocker. And there's only one explanation for this podcast being made. Fairly OddParents!
Yep.
Love it. I'm IrishHuskie. I'm the one who started this whole thing. And, yeah, we've got a fun one coming for you guys, so, strap in.
Right. I'm Wesley Hunt. I am also doing some stuff with writing and voice acting, but I also am very enthusiastic about this one because there's a lot to unpack here.
And our special guest.
Am I really a special guest at this rate?
Yeah.
Sure you are.
You're an
Sweet.
infrequent collaborator. Same thing.
My name is Rebecca Starlight. I do reviews on my channel, Star Giant Productions. I don't go by Star Giant Productions anymore. That's more of my brand name. But I do write animation reviews, and I've been doing others, which is my main review series, where I take a look at animations if they're good or bad. And I do Mystery Science Theater parodies now. One's on Pixar, Gravity Falls, and Amphibia.
Oh, I'd love to do one of those. We'll talk about that when it's over.
Do you like the Do you like the Owl House?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that after this.
Right, cool.
And let's not forget, Star Giant did two very special countdowns on the Fairly OddParents, talking about their best and worst episodes.
Oh, yeah.
The worst list is awful. Like, I'm not a big fan of my worst list anymore because some points don't hold up, but I still really recommend my best list because that's a good video. Although I'll leave them up, like the worst list is my most popular non-MLP video.
Oh, jeez. But
Interesting.
But anyway, yeah, we have here the Fairly OddParents. There's an old saying that goes, you have to be really good to be really bad. That can mean a lot of things, but I think it really applies to Fairly OddParents here.
Because it started off good, but then became bad.
Yeah, it was really good for like 4 seasons. It had this thing going. It had its own brand, its style of humor. It was, at one point, second to SpongeBob in the ratings, and then it was unwatchable. It was just awful.
The term seasonal rot gets thrown around a lot, and the way it often gets used is like, it causes a show to get bad. That's not really true. Seasonal rot is an effect, and there's usually a much more direct cause. And in the Fairly OddParents case, the cause is about as direct as you can get, but we'll go into more detail as we go along.
Right.
I personally think there's 5 good seasons, but go on.
Yeah. Fairly OddParents, of course, started as part of the Oh Yeah anthology series, sort of like Nickelodeon's version of the cartoon show. I think it was the most successful out of the bunch. It had 10 episodes, all of which are available on YouTube for free, and they're actually kind of funny. A lot of that still holds up.
Indeed.
I mean, the funny thing is, I saw this back when I was like 3, and for the longest time I could not find this series.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, it is pretty obscure because it.
Oh yeah, it is.
Unofficial.
See what I did there?
And I don't even know if it had home media release, but this basically has there's some dubious stuff about the canon in general, but this does show how Timmy got his godparent.
Through a magic 9-ball.
Yep.
Which they would reference in one of the TV movies, Channel Chasers.
Yeah. Actually, it was Abracatastrophe.
Oh, right. Channel Chasers was something else.
I had to watch the entire Fairly OddParents series twice, so I unfortunately know my Fairly OddParents knowledge.
All right, so we've got an expert on board.
I didn't watch the Oh Yeah shorts because it wasn't really necessary for the list.
Fair enough.
It is,
Like I saw the first one. Like I definitely seen that, but the other 9 I don't think I've seen.
yeah,
Yeah, well, they're
it really
pretty-
is interesting knowing what we know about the show now, going back to the Oh Yeah cartoons and seeing, how it started and what exactly's changed.
Tooth Fairy
Yeah.
looks very different back then.
Hey,
Yeah, and Timmy Turner voice was not originated by Tara Strong, but rather by the late Mary Kay Bergman.
R.I.P.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, but also Cosmo was the one who surprised me. He sounds more cool.
It's the same actor though, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. Like he's doing like a more he's more doing in line with the likes of the late Phil Hartman.
Right. Phil
Didn't he
Hartman-
die the same year this came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
It was unfortunate. But Phil, I think, is the person who Butch would have wanted to voice Cosmo had he lived.
True. But yeah, Darren Norris, in these early episodes, he definitely sounds a lot more like Gordy from Ned's Declassified, like just kind of his natural voice.
Right.
What's his actor name again?
Darren
Darren
Norris.
Thank you.
And let's see, like I'm being honest, like even though we just got started with talking about Cosmo and Wanda, I honestly think they were at their best here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's something I agree. Also, Cosmo was smarter than Wanda back then.
Yeah.
That's
Like in the first episode, he does one dumb thing, and that's the iconic chocolate snake part.
right.
But it's funny how in the very first episode of the main series, it's a big revelation when Cosmo has an idea. But that's another story.
Speaking of the beginnings, how do you guys feel about Timmy's parents not having their faces yet?
It works for the short. Like they weren't really sure if they were going to get a full series, but building a whole series on that gimmick is kind of tiresome because sooner or later you're going to demand it. The Loud
Yeah,
House
like the Loud House did it.
drops the gimmick,
We'll talk about the Loud House another day. I have a bone to pick with that series.
right? But they dropped the gimmick in season 2.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they were going for a full series, eventually they would have to show the faces. But for
Were there any characters in the Oh Yeah shorts that weren't in the 10 seasons?
Okay.
Not that I can recall.
The version of Santa Claus they have is different, but Santa is in the series.
Judy also made an appearance. She did, and also the Crimson Chin.
Yeah.
Wait, the Crimson Jim was in it?
Last
Yeah, but
one,
you only had like a small cameo.
the last one.
All right.
I think it's perfect casting for Jay Leno because he's known for his chin.
Did you know the only reason why he was hired is because the studio for him was next door?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's because CBS owned Nickelodeon at the time.
And currently, it's owned by a company called Paramount, which is basically Viacom and CBS combined.
Yep.
They had a lot of name changes and split ups over the year. Like, I looked at their history, and they had a rough history, like going back and forth, merging and unmerging.
Yeah, but that's a tale for another time. But yeah, we had all the iconic ideas here. We had some of the crazy wishes, and we even had the introduction of the rules, which are arbitrary and made up, just like whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, I think one thing I really appreciate about the Oh Yeah cartoons is just how much snark there is in the humor, like especially from Cosmo and Wanda.
Right.
I'm gonna get this out of the way for the rules right now. If I can buy both the Monopoint Elements of Harmony book and the Gravity Falls 3 journals, I should be able to buy the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least have a digital copy. But they change every episode, so that's really...
Exactly. Like for example, in Fairly Odd, they say that mind control is not allowed, which I could have sworn that Timmy did mind control in an episode before.
Yeah, I think so too. But they introduced the rules as early as the Oh Yeah shorts. some credit for the Oh Yeah shorts. They lay down the groundwork and they build the characters pretty well for this.
Wasn't the Oh Yeah? I mean, the rules correction a different color originally.
I don't know. I think it was still pink.
No, like the rules, like the book of it was yellow in the Oh Yeah shorts.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, mine is...
Oh yeah, yellow. Dare I make that reference?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
You do it better.
Had to do
But
it.
yet, there's still some energy. There's still a lot of fun stuff, and the situations are like what a kid with those godparents would do, and it's pretty funny to watch. And the last one aired a mere week before the series proper.
Wow, they picked that up. They picked that show up pretty quickly then.
Yep.
I do think it's interesting how Timmy's very first wish was turning Vicky's bathwater into gelatin.
Yeah. It is something. Something.
Yeah, that's an oddly specific request.
Mm-hmm. And then giving her a whipped cream shower.
Yeah. Must have had
Maybe he
food.
was hungry. I mean, he didn't get to eat any of the pizza.
That is true.
Right, yeah.
Should we move on to season 1?
I think so.
I don't
Maybe so
know
much
if we're going season by season. It's more like just general eras.
general eras.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, like, Fairly OddParents kind of is divided by its seasons as a whole.
I kind of disagree. I watched seasons 1 through 3 on Netflix, and they were all about the same. So
I honestly could not tell you what those differences are.
right, but anyway, with Oh Yeah, I kind of wish we had more shows like that now, just to give new creators a testing ground.
I think the reason why we don't anymore is called corporatism or
And
capitalism.
YouTube. Well, before the algorithm killed YouTube, but
Yeah, nowadays you gotta be big already or you don't exist.
right.
I'm sad now.
Capitalism,
Yeah,
where everybody wins, except for you.
Right.
I see someone's a fan of the Owl House.
Yes. But yeah, we have that. I heard there's something like the cartoon show coming, but Oh Yeah had some good stuff, and we got a good hit out of it. But anyways,
I took a look at the cartoons, and most of them were actually garbage.
right. You only talk about the ones they picked up.
But no, I hate Dexter.
I don't know. But still, the popular ones were the ones that got. But anyway, season 1, we had. I was always surprised the older Timmy episode is the first episode that actually aired.
It's a bad way to open the show, simply put.
Yeah, that's the first episode I saw. Believe it or not, I was like 6 years old, and it was at a McDonald's of all places.
I watched SpongeBob in the haircut place once, so it's no biggie.
Right. But yeah, what's going on? It was right there on TV. It wasn't the first airing, obviously, but it was the year it premiered, 01.
It's just weird. It's just weird to me that the first episode of the show about promoting a kid with fairies is how the child doesn't want to be a child anymore. The child wants to grow up.
Yeah, that would have probably been better in a later edition, or even better as a premise for a movie. The episode itself isn't terrible. I actually really like its B segment about the video game.
Power Mad. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good
Power Man is awesome.
That introduced the classic line, "What there? I thought you said feather."
It's a show about nothing. How do we know when it's over?
The wheels on the bus go round and round.
It's
There
also
was
the
a farmer that had a cow, and Bingo was his name. Oh.
It's also the one that reason why everyone misquotes Ricky Ricardo. Wanda, you got some splaining to do. Yeah.
I think my favorite reference was the Seinfeld one.
Oh yeah. I was like, but just seeing what they came up.
Oh, I guess since we're on the video game, we should talk about some of the animation aspects. Like, Fairly OddParents is mostly 2D, but it has used a lot of 3D throughout its years, especially in the early years. Like, you even see it in this episode.
Right? Even SpongeBob was hand drawn for all of season 1, but Fairly OddParents was an early adapter of digital.
Very Odd Parents would technically be hand drawn all the way up to season 10A. Like it would still use in season 10, but eventually it would switch to Flash.
Right, but they use CGI graphics, and it really brings the gaming aspect to life.
I kind of miss this era of animation. Like you don't get this anymore. You either get nowadays you get either full on 2D or full on 3D. No mix and blending.
Right.
Like you see this a lot with the Disney Renaissance.
Yep. Well, they invented the CAPS digital system, which is what they used. And I think the video game, is that Chester and AJ's debut, or were they in the Oh Yeah short?
No, they were in the first episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, you get some friends.
Oh, and the Power Mad also had this bit with them. Besides, I have 3 lives. Ah!
Yeah. And they're sort of like an odd couple dynamic. They're polar opposites, but still best friends.
Like, even though Frankie Muniz did do a good job voicing Chester, I kind of like Jason Marsden's voice more.
Oh heck, that was him! I didn't
Yeah.
know.
God, I love Jason Marsden.
Wednesday, March 22nd. Cosmo had an idea.
Yeah.
I
But
love
also-
Jason Marsden.
but
Loved
also-
him as Max. Loved him as Tino Tonatini from The Weekenders, which isn't on Disney Plus for some reason.
Yeah.
Where can you find that?
That one was Tino was a big meme in my high school.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they were like, save Tino.
Huh.
And I also love Jason Marsden as a Povu from The Lion King 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he was also Haku in Spirited Away, but yeah, I didn't have any idea that Malcolm was the original Chester.
On non-related notes, Susan Plachette was the voice of Zira in Lion King 2 and Yubaba and in Spirited Away. And I have to say this. Man, if I had a nickel for every time Susan Plachette had control over Jason Marsden, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. But yeah, those two are funny because, again, they are polar opposites. I just love how Chester's dad is established as the worst baseball player ever, and that's like his defining trait.
Yeah. Fucking big bad bat.
Yeah,
With a name like that, you're kind of cursed.
Right.
Oh, come on. I'm sure no one takes the name that seriously.
Maybe he was like Yadier Molina and was a good defensive catcher.
Maybe.
Wait, isn't that their mailbox? Not again!
I mean, at least Walker Bueller broke the stereotype of his name because he's actually a decent pitcher.
Right. Yep. But it's still kind of funny. You see this, and this one still has a lot of the good dynamics. You get to see Timmy in school. You get to see the fairy world break out, and Yorkin always just cracks me up.
Like, Jordan, I will say, like, in the first, like, I think 1 or 2 seasons, Jordan's voice would go up and down. Like, sometimes it would sound like this, and then other times it would sound like this.
Yeah. Also, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, or at least a parody of him, exists in this universe alongside Jorgen.
Arnold Schwarzengerman.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you already have
Jorgen,
him
by the way.
and Jorgen. You have 2 Arnold Schwarzeneggers.
Yorick, I'll be back.
And
Weapons.
also, I think in their introduction, the Yugopotamians watched the Fairly OddParents, as in the show.
Really?
Yes, that is kind of a weird joke in hindsight.
Yeah.
I do like how the final episode of season 1 is a Christmas episode, and it's a very good version.
Yeah, it's an original take on the Christmas story. I mean, there have been short stories and tales like this. Heck, Sesame Street had Elmo wish it were Christmas every day. But this is one of the first times it's been on a mainstream cartoon.
Wait, other people tried this? I thought Fairly OddParents was the only one to do it.
There was a short story back in the 1890s about a girl who wished it were Christmas every day. But this is...
Wasn't one of the
Fairly
shorts
OddParents
from
probably
Mickey's
did
Once Upon
better.
a Christmas?
I think so.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But But Fairly OddParents does it in a unique way because it shows the ramifications of what would happen.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
if
15th
if everyone
day
stopped
of
working,
Christmas.
we wouldn't afford any eggnog.
It's the
Like-
15th day of Christmas, and my true love gave
True
to
love
me.
Pants.
Yeah.
Pants.
Pants.
Yeah, okay.
Right, because you got nothing else.
Right.
And I also love how this Christmas Every Day thing affects the fairies. That puts things into a whole new risk.
It was an interesting bit of world building because it showed how the magic works and how Santa does his stuff.
The show would fuck this up so much in season 6.
But we'll get there when we get there. That's the sequel episode, right?
Right.
And since we're in season 1, I think it's even though it's early,
Oh,
I
you
think
never
it's
mentioned Mrs. Claus, Jackson.
No, not her. I was going to talk about someone else we saw in season 1.
All right.
You all know it. Get ready to salute. Oh, hello! Is this your ball on my lawn and your ankle in my trap?
Oh,
Rest in
Dr.
peace, Gilbert Godfrey.
Dr. Bender. R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried.
I still remember when I heard his voice. I got so excited because I loved Yago from Aladdin, and his voice was someone I always got a huge crack out of.
Yeah, that's right. He's just
Does
so...
anyone remember the one time when Elmo tried to do Bender's voice? Fun fact: when I first heard that, I thought there was actually a glitch with my TV.
Right.
Which episode was that?
Teeth for Two.
Oh yeah, that's right. They got someone else for that.
I kind of like in the Gilbert Godfrey episode, the first one, how they are able to make a world of gray blobs interesting.
Yeah, no, it's like this. Everyone's gray, but they still find a reason for prejudice and bigotry. We're a different shade of gray.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
to
that-
be honest, real humans would do that.
Yeah,
Social commentary.
right. But yeah, even in a world where everyone is exactly the same, they still look for excuses.
It's surprisingly it's kind of relevant. The more you think about it,
Right.
in a way.
Yeah. And you get to
And,
think if everyone was the same, or how would we still react if everyone was the same?
Well, let's not forget Chet. I just told you I'm Chet.
Oh yeah.
And then all the fairies turn into a DeviantArt fetish before they die.
Why? Yeah, Butch Hartman said one of his biggest inspirations was The Simpsons, and Chet You Betcha is kind of showing one of that. But I actually think he's a good version of better one like Chet Brockman because he has all the best lines.
Now, isn't this also Crocker's introduction?
Yes, he appears in Transparents.
Yes.
Here's a little fun fact about that episode. There's a part where Crocker fantasizes about having a warrior suit, and we get to see it in Albert Catastrophe. The only difference is the color.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a new real daughter.
My favorite part of that episode is when Cosmo and Wanda drink coffee for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. But Crocker, he's kind of funny. He's kind of a sympathetic character in some episodes.
He is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing I do appreciate about early Fairly OddParents, and even all the way to season 10, but they fucked this up in the live action remakes, is Cosmo and Wanda's size. They're always bigger than Timmy, but smaller than adults. They're the size of a teenager.
Preteen. Timmy's 10.
0 to 12 is kid. Let's be honest.
Right, but they're the size of a pre-teenager, and I love how just totally oblivious to he says, "Oh, those talking green and pink dogs have a point."
Okay.
But the other big mystery, once we saw their faces, we never learned the names of Timmy's parents. That kept people up at night.
I think Butch did answer them. There was an event called 777, July 7, 2007, on a Saturday, because lucky sevens, a lot of marriages happened that day. And I think he revealed the name there. Or unless it was Krusty Krab train video ending where it's just pulled.
Right.
Don't you guys know? Timmy's dad actually said that his name is Timmy's dad.
No,
I think one time I made a joke that their names were Peter and Lois. This was back like 2 years ago when I hated Family Guy, and yet nowadays I think Family Guy is the best adult cartoon in my top 10 favorite cartoons of all time.
Yeah.
It's even better than My Little Pony.
Right. But anyway, yeah, no, it's not Timmy's dad. They censor it in that episode, like a truck drives by them.
No, I mean, like, there was one episode called Odd Jobs, I think it was called, where Timmy's dad is on stage and he just says, "My name is Timmy's dad."
Oh, right. That was something for the joke.
That would have been a weird name to give your kids.
Yeah, and they're rarely, if ever, called Mr. or Mrs. Turner, even.
Yeah.
I think the parents were at their best in season 1.
Probably, or at least they're...
Which is sad because their first episode was not that great.
Yeah.
Although, we'll have a lot more to say about Timmy's parents as we go on.
Yeah, you'll...
Like, what season do you guys think were them at their worst? That's a good question to ask. They were definitely at their dumbest in season 10, but I don't know if that was their cruelest.
Right.
It's hard to say for me because, like, I recently said this on Twitter. Like, I said this. Like, I never really liked them as characters, even in the early seasons, because as every good episode they can appear in, there can be another episode that happens right after where they're, like, awful and, like, irredeemable at most.
Can you give an example, Jack?
Like, for example, in the episode Odd Jobs, like, Timmy's dad is basically saying, like, "Oh, I want this job. I want to get a job to make my son proud of me." And, like, it's, like, pretty much based on their relationship. I'm like, okay, cool. That's episode we match it. Timmy's parents are trying to film Timmy, making a documentary saying, "Stupid questions our son asks us."
Oh, their sister episodes?
Yeah. Like, for every good appearance they can have a terrible appearance right afterwards.
And let's not forget the infamous season 3 line, "Why didn't I give birth to Chip Skylark?"
Yeah.
Or a much later.
No, you want to talk about Infamous? Wait till we get to... You want to talk about
Infamous? Were
Infamous?
shattered years ago.
How many years?
How old are
What
you?
is that?
You want to talk about Infamous? Wait till we get to It's a Wishful Life.
Right, we'll
Right.
get there. But yeah, I had a friend named Victoria, and of course she got hounded with that song.
Oh yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on Chompy the Goat?
He's the goat.
He's a goat. Yeah. Yeah, but Icky Vicky, she heard that all the time.
And personally, I enjoy Shiny Teeth more. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Shiny Teeth.
I still sing that when brushing my teeth.
Mute your mic, Jack, if you're gonna sing it.
Like, Shiny Teeth, like,
My shiny teeth and me, shiny teeth, shiny teeth.
Yeah.
that song to me is like what the DuckTales theme song is to everyone else. Like, the instant I hear it, I am never going to get it out of my head. It is
For me,
that
My
that's
shiny
freaking
teeth
catchy.
and me, shiny teeth, shiny teeth.
For me, that's Kim Possible, but that's another podcast.
Funny story, I've been watching Kim Possible all of this past week.
Sweet.
Because the show turned 20. So I thought, alright, I'll take a look at it again.
Sweet,
Man,
I'll
I gotta
get
take
to-
a look at that show again.
Right. Well, Fairly OddParents.
I'm feeling old because the shows I'm growing up with are now growing up with me.
Same. I feel it. Even with this show, Fairly OddParents, which came out in 2001 as a proper show.
Well, that's why I did the worst list last year, because it was to celebrate the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But yes, we have that. We have the characters beyond gimmicks, but they have little ways to break those gimmicks and do funny stuff. Like, they have a Chester episode where he gets good at baseball. I think they had an AJ episode at some point. Where he,
Yeah. Like the one where
I
Timmy
think so.
wished he knew everything.
yeah. Where
I guess
Timmy-
since we're talking about the early era of Fairly OddParents and not just by season, we might want to bring up our favorite episode. Like, my favorite is The Boy Who Be Queen.
Same.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
right.
It seems to be most people's favorite episode. And I feel like Butch Hartman seems to regret writing this one.
But here's the thing, though. What does Timmy see in Trixie? She's a bee.
Well,
Like, he's prepubescent. She's much taller than him and beautiful. There.
That's kind of how I would need.
Well,
If I
here's
was
the
Tibby.
thing: if Trixie like kept like up her role like she did in The Boy Who Went Between, I totally see that. Like, I think they'd make an adorable couple.
Yeah.
Like, she punts Timmy out of her own party only to keep up appearances. Like, you see deep down she does feel something like a little stronger than just aloofness to him. And if they
But
kept
the
up
show
that
would
energy-
never explore that.
What a
Right.
shame.
But again, she's just kind of a being. It really is.
You could just swear, like, Husky could always edit it out.
Right, yeah. Trying to think of what one of my favorites was. That's certainly up there, but I also did kind of like the first Chip Skylark episode, maybe because I'm a sucker for those movies, and basically any Crimson Chin episode, because I.
Which Chip Skylark episode came first? Because I'm having because there's some contradictions to me.
Boys in the band.
Boys in the Band, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
That
Because the
was-
one I saw first was the one with Dr. Bender. In fact, I actually saw that Dr. Bender episode first before his original one. So I was always confused when I saw Timmy like hating Chip Skylark the second time. I was like, but I thought you loved this guy, dude. You were with him.
Right.
Right.
But-
Apparently,
They don't-
and apparently we also get a date for Timmy's birthday. Apparently it's July 25th.
Wow.
Wait, really?
Because
Let's see.
if I remember correctly, that episode where Vicky kidnaps Chip Skylark, he mentions the date as July 24th. And then at the end of the episode, his parents remind him that his birthday is tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
And
Timmy
Chip's
gets
birthday-
our favorite 10-year-old Timmy will turn 10 years old.
Yeah,
He
like
always been 10. It's perpetually 10 years old, and that's a plot point in the Fairly Odd movies.
yeah, he's like only two birthdays behind Bugs Bunny's, July 27th.
Right. But yeah, that actually does come back later. But also, basically, any Crimson Chin episode I really like because I was just a sucker for the Silver Age comics, and I actually get a lot of the references.
You know, since we're in the golden age and since we're talking about superheroes, you want to talk about the real Cape Crusader, Adam West.
I thought
Don't you mean Catman?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Catman.
Adam West was always a hoot on the Fairly OddParents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He may not be the mayor of Quahog in this, but he's still something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Also, rest in peace, Adam West.
Yeah.
wait, with all this talk about Adam West, I'm surprised we didn't say TV's Adam West. Where? Man, I love that gag.
Yeah.
Right. But he's Catman and it's and whenever you don't read a comic, they're just sitting there in the fetal position waiting for you.
Yeah, like,
I really don't understand why at one point Patton Oswalt just published an entire issue with the Crimson Chin having an existential crisis.
oh man, this was actually my introduction to Patton Oswalt.
Right, he's the geek who writes the Crimson Chin, who lives with his mom.
Right.
And like, there's one thing he says that actually kind of like predicts the downfall of the Fairly OddParents. Because he goes, "Wait a minute, that's dumb. The Crimson Chin would never say that unless I tell him to."
Right. When the creator rebels against the work. But yeah, there was that. And I also like the fairies blending in at the con. Because they're like, it's a convention. Everyone's dressed weird here.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Oh, let's not forget the second convention episode, CosmoCon.
All right.
That was a fun one.
The only
Especially that joke with Binky. I'm sorry. I thought that the Black Plague was a band. I didn't know it would wipe out half of Europe.
Right. Oh, that's big, but I think that goes into the poof seasons where the wiping out half of Europe thing comes into play.
Let's not forget, speaking of wiping people out, let's not forget that one of Cosmo and Wanda's previous godchildren started World War One.
That was what I was hinted at. It is
And Marianne.
that they led to the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some of my favorite episodes from this era, like Boy Who Would Be Queen, that's obviously a classic. I did also like the baseball one just because I'm a big baseball fan. I should point out, though, that the way that they won against the New York Yankees...
I'll be right back.
The way that they won should have caused them to lose because Timmy caught the ball with his hat.
No, that's an automatic triple.
It's an automatic triple. Yankees would have scored 3 runs, win by 2. The losers lose.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah, this is also a show where 10-year-olds play in a league against 3-year-olds, and how chopping the ball up into multiple pieces can cause multiple simultaneous outs.
I'm back.
So
Right.
creative differences.
Yeah, I noticed that
Another one of
too.
my
I
favorites
noticed
is
that-
another one of my
Like,
favorites is Nectar of the Odds, the
Right.
Magic Lemonade.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The one with the green socks.
Yeah.
And of course, the episode that introduced us to our Lord and Savior himself,
Doug Dimmadome. Doug Dimmadome. Oh, the Doug Dimmadome.
Remember when his hat was normal size?
It just keeps getting taller every episode. I love that gag.
Oh,
Wait, the joke is like, I keep getting richer, so my hat keeps getting taller. I can't fit in most buildings, but it's a great hat.
Yeah.
There's a series of I think it's TikToks of a guy who constructs Doug Dimmadome's hat and just walks around his university, and every video it gets taller and taller.
Yeah. The wonder it stays on his head. Because the TikTok isn't a cartoon character, so he has to obey the laws of physics.
Right.
Doug
I
Dimmadome
think when he
also.
walks into a building, he just steps back like 20 feet, tilts his head down, and walks in hat first.
Oh, jeez.
And of course, it has that awesome song playing in the background. You reposted in the wrong Dimmadome.
Classic Doug Dimmadome. Yes, I'm Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimmadome, and you don't mess with Timmy.
Although whenever he says I'm Doug Dimmadome, I always like to say, Doug Dimmadome?
Yes, Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
The same Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, where they're showing Crash Nebula?
Yes.
So you can get me 3 tickets to Crash Nebula on Ice, right?
Nope.
Come on.
Not right.
Not right?
Right. I'm afraid it's sold out.
Oh, right. No.
However, there's one way that you guys can still see the show.
I don't think one of my favorite YouTube videos is Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, but Timmy Turner can't get his name right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, it's a tongue twister. They always say Doug Dimmadome full.
Doug Dimmadome, the owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome? Not right. Not right? That's right.
Anyone else find it weird that everyone's just basically drinking Cosmo's sweat?
No, that's rank. That's disgusting.
Also, it's the only time we ever get to see Chet You Bet Too Tall.
Right.
Although with like let's see, with Doug Dimmadome, one of my favorite episodes of the whole show that he made an appearance in was Emotion Commotion.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That was a real. I feel like they had a lot of their best shows of the show in that episode.
Right.
Like I think everyone's reaction to Timmy like not like caring about anything is just priceless.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're weird.
It doesn't. You're weird.
I was like this part from Francis when he just goes, weird, get away from me, you freak. And the sharks too, they're good. They're like, "Arr." He's not scared. He's weird. Ah!
Right.
That was a classic.
I think this covers the basis for the Netflix seasons. I call them the Netflix seasons because seasons 1 through 3 are the syndication rights are held by a different company.
Really?
Oh wait, no, the first movie, Abracatastrophe. There's a little of that. I think this is one of the weaker specials, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, I feel.
Right, it feels like it could have been 2 specials. They could have cut the monkey subplot. This doesn't really go anywhere.
I did
I'm
like
not-
that rewritten theme song
Yeah, that was funny. I love it when shows do that in general. American Dragon had a theme song in the show. SpongeBob did it a few times.
DuckTales 2017 with Glomgold's takeover.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it when shows do that in general. So that was a highlight. And then Crocker gets his Galactus suit. But the muffin rules are kind of weird. So like, is it every bite you get a wish? Well then I'll just nibble it every now and then.
I thought the rule was you can only get once, like, with the bites. Because ever notice that everyone only gets one wish?
But they only take one bite.
Right. So
Is that up to the audience?
So it's one wish for every person who bites it.
Alright, so if you take another bite, you get nothing but a terrible tasting muffin.
Right. Yeah. Though I wouldn't have bitten it if the monkey had.
Yeah.
I honestly think that
asking for rabies.
I honestly think that Abracatastrophe is the best of the specials, personally.
Better than Channel Chasers?
Yeah, like, I actually have a little bit of a bone to pick with Channel Chasers, but we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But we'll do with that. But Abracatastrophe was the first main special. I think it probably was one of the first that was... I think they felt like the series was going to end soon, so they wanted to get something big. But of course they kept going. And then they had Channel Chasers, which was probably most intended as the series finale.
Mm-hmm. Like, you hear it all the time. People saying Fairly OddParents should have ended with Channel Chasers, or at the very least, shortly after Channel Chasers.
Right. They had this. It's the thing. They had the setup. They had the most conclusive ending. They had the perfect finale, and they just kept going. Channel Chasers is all right because I appreciate all the references, and I like how they changed art styles. I wish more shows would do that.
That is something I do like. I do like all the television references.
Yeah, I wish more shows would change art styles every now and then. But
I especially love all the anime references.
Yes.
Like, everyone starts talking like Mojo Jojo.
Right. And Speed Racer and Mahomushi, which is a combination of Pokemon and Dragon Ball.
Like, I just love how when every time everyone's talking really fast, they just end with "oh, ah, oh."
Yeah, and they make it seem dubbed because their lip movements don't match.
That's also a really nice touch.
Yeah, but I take it your beef with this one is the time travel aspect?
Actually, no. It's with Timmy's parents.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Like, what I really like about Abracatastrophe is that it shows the reason why Timmy ended up with fairy godparents was because of his parents. But then this episode tries to say, no, his parents are always in the right. I'm like, yeah, no. Like, I'm sorry. Timmy's parents are not good parents. Like, they're not. Like, and like, if I'd be fine with this, but like, I'd be a little okay with this, but at the end, when they're going through this whole arc of like learning to listen to Timmy more, Timmy just like reverses it at the end. Like, just like that. So it really feels like we just went through nothing.
There is that one line, though, at the end where they're like, all the adults in this show are dumb or neglectful. Your parents are always either one or the other.
Yeah. And also, I kind of have issues with Vicky being the villain. Like, I think I should probably talk about her a little bit, because even if we're supposed to hate Vicky, like, I never really liked her. Like, even as a character, I'm supposed to hate.
No, she's a horrible person. That's why Mark loves her, because everything's opposite.
I do love Mark Chain though. Mark Chain is awesome.
Yeah, Mark, he's
No problem, brah.
yeah.
I love how he becomes like not just a recurring character, but also a recurring kind of human character.
Yeah, like I actually heard the reason why he talks like a surfer dude. Like, all these other people who auditioned for Mark just had a generic alien voice, but it was Rob Paulson himself who came up with Mark's personality. He just came in acting like a surfer dude saying, "You need humans! What's up?"
Right. I always forget it's him. He's that versatile. Same with Buck Tud Russell in Time Squad. I didn't know he was Tud Russell either.
Yeah, like,
Speaking of,
I keep forgetting that
like,
too.
The episode where he moves to Earth to get away from Mandai.
Yeah.
I love that name, by the way. That episode has one of my favorite single episode running gags. It's where Tibby keeps unfreezing Crocker in a Waxoplax's presence, and she beats him with a hand dryer.
Aliens from outer space.
Oh yeah, that is.
Like first time, it's funny because she just rips that thing from the wall. Second time, it's funnier because she has a hand dryer in her bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crocker! I guess the did something.
Yeah, Fairly OddParents has a tendency to repeat jokes within the episode, but at the very least, sometimes they either climax it right with the best payoff, or they
Fairly
keep-
OddParents is known for following the rule of 3. Although in later seasons, I think they kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I know one episode they tell the same joke 5 times.
Right. But the idea is rule of 3. It can only be funny 3 times.
Why is that the rule?
Because you need 3 examples to prove a trend.
Like, I don't know why we picked 3, but whatever.
Because it's a magic number.
There's a certain science behind it about things coming in 3s, but I don't feel like that. But everything I touch dies from the earlier segment. That's one of my favorite catchphrases from the show.
Oh, Dinkelberg! Would you like to give my would you like to give my wife a congratulatory hand touch?
But what's funny about Dinkelberg is we don't know why Timmy's dad hates him. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
He has what Timmy's dad can't have.
Right.
Not kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although
And
the
you know
hatred
what?
goes back well before that.
Right. You know why they call him Dinkelberg? Because Dink on the census designation is dual income, no kids.
Ha!
Oh.
That means it's a
That's pretty clever.
Wait, what? Wait, why is he called that?
dual income, no kids. He and his wife both work full time but don't have kids. So it's
But why is that called Dinkelberg?
DINK.
Dinkle?
It's an acronym. Dual
Oh.
income, no kids.
Right.
Got it.
And so yeah, that's what the Dinkelbergs are. and remember when that was a meme? Cannot find server. Dinkelberg.
I personally like this meme just a little bit more. And this is where I would put a trophy. If I had one! Right? Not so happy, but happy's back!
That's
I got a better one. And this is where I would give all my current fucks on the Fairly OddParents, if I had any.
yeah. Bryce Harper probably quotes that meme daily. And this is where I put my World Series trophy. If I had one.
Oh yeah, because the Nats won like right after he left.
the year he signed with the Phillies. Great. But yeah, he probably quotes that every day. And then we have but yeah, there are some memes like the weather one and basically everything out of Cosmo's mouth. But then after Channel Chasers, we had season 5. It was kind of the beginning of the end. Not bad in itself, but you could tell it was starting to wind down.
Yeah, before we move on to that, have we talked about Norm the Genie yet?
He appears in season 5.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go.
One of my even though like this is only a second episode, one of my favorite episodes of the whole show is Back to the Norm, where he teams up with Crocker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's pretty interesting to see the stuff because he's a genie, not a fairy, so he's very literal.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a great little homage to the Roadrunner in that episode. Rebecca pointed out something that I did not notice in that Roadrunner scene. Rebecca, care to take it over?
It was a watermark from a person like this person was here. I forget the name off the top of my head.
The person's name was M. Noble, which is the name for Maurice Noble, who was the background artist for Chuck Jones.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, like I was watching the episode because I wanted to put it on my best list, so I had to rewatch it to gain some points, and I noticed that while watching it.
And as soon as she said it, I was just like, that's Maurice Noble. Like, I know that guy.
That was some deep cut. The animators knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Like no, I have never heard anyone bring that up before, so I think I'm the first to discover it.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Thanks.
Then we had another special featuring him with Far Far Away Idol.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Fairy Idol, but I do love Far Far Away Idol.
Oh yeah, Fairy Idol. That's right. That's how big American Idol was. That it was parodied on all the kids shows you watched.
Can I just ask? I just gotta ask, what does singing have to do with being a fairy godparent?
And they had to fit it in somewhere.
Well, in Cinderella, they do it through song.
Like, but that's kind of stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm grasping at straws. I'm literally grasping at straws.
Fairy Idol is stupid. I talked about already.
Yeah. It was kind of just a cross promotion for a show on another channel that the kids wouldn't have watched. But Norm Macdonald, he basically plays himself, I guess.
I don't have anything against that. Like, he really he works off of Crocker greatly in that.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing wrong with that. Norm Macdonald was hilarious, and seeing him as a genie is even funnier.
And they even did a whole great little twist on you can't wish for more wishes. Actually you can. We tell you can't, but really you can. We've been bluffing for centuries.
Right. I thought it was just you couldn't grant those extra wishes.
Yeah, but it turns out you can actually.
Wow, that's interesting. My mom told me once, though, it's for the story. The story has to have some tension and stake. So if you wish for more wishes, the tension goes away. Part of why Aladdin worked is because you knew you had a time limit.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a funny joke, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just found out in Fairy Idol they actually got an actual American Idol contestant, Diana DeGarmo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
They just had a parody of Will Hong. That's right.
Yeah. It was,
I will say that
was the singer that Cosmo was imitating.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
Oh, hang on. F-A-I-R-Y.
Yep.
Right.
I will say in season 5, I think it was in the episode Moving Day, one of my favorite bits of Crocker. Because when they're in the field, after they lose all their homes, Biggie's like, where we go? And Crocker just says, why we sold all our houses to move to Dimmadome Makers. Fairies. He just randomly says fairies.
Yeah,
You know, if I had a nickel for every time there was a mind control happy episode in season 5 in different shows, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's what happened twice, right?
What was the other show?
My
Little Pony.
Cutie
Which
Map.
episode was that?
Cutie Map.
Yep.
All right.
That was more thought reform than traditional mind control, but you get same idea.
Right. All smiles.
Yep.
All right. Why don't we mention the crap of the original Fairly OddParents before we get to the later seasons?
Okay.
The bad ones. There were a few.
Yep.
Let's see.
Should we start with the super infamous one, or should we end off with that?
We'll end off on the super infamous one. Let's start light. Love Struck is a light one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's bad, but not the worst of the show.
Right. Although I think Cupid is amazing. This version of Cupid is great.
I do love Tom Kenny as Cupid.
Right. Is
Although
he
the
meant
first thing that Cupid does in that episode is he fires an arrow on a dog and a cat and has them make out with each other.
Right. I'm pretty sure this version's coded gay.
Oh yeah, he's in love with Wandissimo, duh.
Right.
Of course.
Have you seen Wishology?
Oh, that's later. That's later.
Same point.
Right. But yeah, Love Struck's kind of iffy. But
Also, what are we supposed to do with trans people? It's just saying.
I think that might be a bit overthinking it, but yeah, that's kind of a logistical problem.
Well, I mean, if they could do it perfectly fine, the boy who would be queen, why can't they here?
Yeah, right.
Like, this is the first episode I noticed where Butch Hartman started to regret making the boy who would be queen.
Right, yeah. And also with Love Struck, my mom or something saw it, and she was like, nah, the girls would have descended into savagery too. Probably even much quicker.
Right.
That's pretty nice. Like,
Reminds me of that one Family Guy episode where Stewie puts Brian, Peter, Joe, Quagmire, and Cleveland like in a simulation to see if
Cleveland was not part of it.
oh right, to see if Peter and Brian would have become friends organically and not just through circumstance.
And then Stewie says, "Oh, I also did it with the girls just to see if what did they do in a similar situation. They didn't even ask for their names yet. They just started fighting."
Right.
Right.
I think another episode that gets criticized is Just the Two of Us, where
yeah.
he wishes that he and Trixie are the only beings in any observable universe other than his godparents.
Can we just ignore the plot for a second? Why is that allowed?
That's basically tantamount to murder, which I think fairies can't do.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, we can't give you extra money, but we can get rid of every human on Earth.
It's not technically murder, so
we can't end their life, but we can erase it.
let's see. If I had to pick an episode from the early seasons that I didn't like, it would have to be Fool's Day Out.
oh yeah.
That's, like, in that episode, Timmy is like sick of everyone playing pranks on him, especially more humiliating ones, like being pranked in public and made fun of on the news.
This
he
is
gets the help.
Fetcher saying, "April Fools, Timmy Turner."
So like he gets the help of the April Fool, like to pull pranks. But like, here's the thing, like, I feel like Cosmo and Wanda are kind of hypocrites because they're saying that Timmy should not like do anything like malicious pranking. Yet that's what everyone else was doing to him throughout like the beginning of the episode. And even then, Timmy even learns himself that like he shouldn't go too far with pranking someone. He learns that himself. And even when he stops the April Fool from like pranking one, what happens? Oh, Cosmo wanted to prank him.
Yeah.
That's one where I just felt they were just like really out to get Timmy in that episode.
Right.
That's one I really feel like Timmy should have deserved a break.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I really feel like Fools and April from SpongeBob did this episode a lot better.
Right. It's about stretching your jokes but doing it too far, making sure the other person is in on the joke. Like even if it's non-consensual, at least it's harmless.
Yeah, and Squidward's prank was harmful, and he was in the wrong for it.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas all SpongeBob did was put one ice cube in a guy's drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he even when he was like found out that was a joke, he just then says, "I guess that is funny."
Right.
I see that as SpongeBob getting back at him for the pizza incident.
Right.
That wasn't the same guy.
No.
That guy's never
it
shown
was.
again.
He changed his skin after the public backlash.
Yeah.
Ah, I see.
Yes. But we had all that. We had our fun times. I had seasons 4 that were kind of a mystery to me. But didn't this season also introduce the Ben Stein Pixies?
Yeah, I love the Pixies.
Yeah.
I think it was just
sunk the city of Atlantis, caused an invasion of super rodents, and of course, a super toilet.
too much talking.
We can make it all happen for you.
No.
Yeah.
Like
First expansion
happy
of the world happened in season 2 with the anti-fairies. That was...
having Ben Stein voice every single of the Pixies, I think it's just a stroke of genius.
Right. Wasn't there one point a war between the fairies, the pixies, and the anti-fairies?
That was actually in I think it was in Fairly Odd Baby or Fairly Odd Olympics.
Ah, right, yeah. There was that. But then they added so much stuff into it, I started losing track. Anti-fairies are kind of an interesting idea, too. Having a correlate to power. It's like yin and yang, almost.
Right.
But season 5, we had a lot of this stuff. But then at season 6, we had our big change, our first big bombshell.
Oh wait, I think we forgot to mention It's a Wishful Life.
Oh right, It's a Wishful Life. That is season 4. Right.
In which we learned
Wait, is
that...
it season 4 or 5?
It's in that area.
Yeah.
Pre-poof.
Yeah. It's a Wishful Life, in which we learned that Timmy was the reason the Cubs never won the World Series. So the Bartman incident was his fault. Good to know.
Yeah.
It's a Wishful Life is the worst animation I've ever seen. Like, it's my least favorite piece of media ever.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say it's probably one of the bad ones, and certainly the most outstanding bad episode of Fairly OddParents.
I personally think it's so bad that I can't review it.
But here's the thing with It's a Wishful Life. The idea is it's to homage It's a Wonderful Life, but turn it on its head. But the thing about it, if everyone was better off, is that it at least should be funny, and the angels should at least be trying to show that it should be good and yet failing. Johnny Bravo did something similar but better.
I remember the Nostalgia Critic doing that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
And he got the...
And that resolution was actually pretty funny, because it turns out the one person whose life would be worse was his own.
Yeah,
and like,
thing
and he beats up a fragile at the end.
Yeah, Nostalgia Critic did an interesting one. Like, he showed the angels' future. That's the new thing he added.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if this has been pointed out by everyone, but the angel in It's a Wonderful Life was called Clarence, but the angel in the Nostalgia Critic was called Roger. At the reference.
We have Clarence. Roger.
Yep.
Right. I see. But they had all that, and It's a Wishful Life was just really dull, and it didn't shut. And the way it ended, with things being no better, I think Butch Hartman actually apologized for it. That's how bad it was.
Guys, really think about it. Of all the shit we're going to talk about what Butch Hartman did, this is what made him actually apologize for something. Think about it.
Right.
Yikes. That does not bode well.
Right. But again, the idea is the angel has to at least be trying to convince him that it should be better, but nope, it's all just a bullying parade. And we see demonstrably that Timmy improves lives in the show. Like, he makes things go good there. He had channel chasers where...
So why the fuck does this episode think a child committing suicide is the right thing to do?
Yeah, he goes to the dimension of kids who improve the world by wishing they were never born. And it looks like hell.
Subtle. But...
Yeah, this episode was just a train wreck through and through.
Yeah.
So I actually remember one time Blue's Clues was advertised like for a birthday party, and they show a bunch of other Nicktoons like celebrating it, like saying words and sentences, and they show clips of It's a Wishful Life in it.
Really?
Yeah, but they were out of context.
Yes.
We can let it slide.
Like the yes way part from George.